Hi, welcome to JJ's Productions. We've got another Stoke City Vlogcast. With me as always is Jan. How are you doing?
I'm alright, thank you. They're working me hard over this Christmas period, aren't they?
Oh, I must admit, I'm getting a bit fed up of playing FIFA right now. And I never thought I'd think that. But I'm sort of glad I'm playing FIFA because it's actually taking my mind off the dire dross we're actually seeing.
Well, the first thing I wrote in my notes is 1 minute in and Stoke fans are chanting for Bojan. Why? We know what the answer is. It's no use getting riled up about it, even though I know people are upset about it. I am myself. But there's no need to keep on shouting because it's going to get them nowhere.
The only thing I can think is that, what would it have been like if there'd been a full week between the games?
Yeah.
I can't imagine what the reaction would have been like then if everyone had been stewing for 5-6 days rather than the 2 or 3 it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a pathetic reaction in some sense because, you think, I know that we want a bit more attacking impotence and a bit more creativity, but when you look at the stats for the game, we were more attacking than we have been in recent games.
Yeah.
Granted we lost, and I'm not taking anything away from that, and I'm not even talking about Gary Rowett here, but it wasn't as bad a game as we've had in the past 2 or 3.
No.
So, it's quite odd to say that after a loss, it's got to be said, but, I think the pivotal moment of this game was the penalty.
Well, I mean, a phobie, that kick he did, even in my state, I could have saved that.
I must admit, I've seen it since, and the thing is, and I'm sure there's a lot of Stoke supporters who agree with me on this, I'm not a fan of penalty kicks where you sort of have a leisurely stroll up and then just try and lace it in, shall we call it, like a very low power shot. Because obviously sometimes it'll work, you'll get a goalkeeper diving the wrong way and it'll just look really good. But on the other hand, I'd rather someone, a bit like how Johnny Walters used to do, just smash it in the top corner and just get it out of the way.
Sooner or later, they're all going to be like Pogba.
Yeah, I mean,
do that stupid run up he does.
I mean, I know he probably got that off Ronaldo, and I think even Ronaldo got it off someone from Brazil or something. But the point being, it's just not for me. I feel like I'm turning into a weird 50-year-old man talking about this, but it's just something that for me, I don't like it.
No, I don't like it. Get on the spot, kick the ball, get it in the back of the net. Job done.
What I find strange is that a lot of supporters on Twitter said they didn't fancy a phobie, and I must admit, when I saw it was him taking taking the penalty, I was actually quite confident because I thought, he hasn't got 100% record for us this season by any means, but I thought, well, you know what, he isn't too bad at taking the pens. I think a few of his goals have been from the penalty spot, so I was a little bit hopeful when he took it, and
I wasn't. I just wasn't.
Yeah, I mean...
And then when I saw it, sorry son.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I thought, it's even worse watching it than it was listening to it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's easy for me to say that in hindsight, it's easy for you to say that in hindsight, but, it's just how it was at the time, because for a rarity, we were watching it at different times, or we're watching it in different rooms. And, I must admit, I was quite hopeful, and... I think Bennett let me down there a little bit. He obviously let us all down, but I was one of those who had hope in him.
Well, like I say, I could have saved it.
Yeah, it wasn't a hard penalty save.
No. And then, of course, after that, 37 minutes and Bristol score.
Dedio, if I remember right. And, it was pretty much against the run of play. I think that isn't unfair to say. We were in control of the possession. Yeah. We had a few half chances, if we can call them that, and they pretty much scored their first shot on target.
Yeah.
And at the time I was speaking to a Bristol City fan, and he was pretty happy they were in front, giving it the big and all that, and fair enough to him. That's if you're in front, you've got a right to do whatever you like when it's like that. But my point of view was we were unlucky to be behind. I think if we'd been 0-0 at half time, I think we could have just bowed our heads and said, all right, we've done well, in the sense that, yes, we should have scored from the penalty spot, we could have taken one of the half chances a little bit better, but 0-0 would have been a fair reflection. But instead, 1-0 down.
And that again warranted the booing.
I'll put it like this, it wasn't a surprise to see it coming.
I mean, I wasn't there, but I've been there when Stoke fans do boo, and it echoes all around the stadium, and it's a horrible sound. And even Mike Pedrick says it's horrible listening to that.
I mean, what gets me is, a few years ago, I remember we were at a Man City game, and there was booing at the end of that match. I think we lost 4-0. And you could understand it to a degree at that point, because you thought, you know what, we're putting a bad show here. And now it's as if we boo as soon as anything goes wrong.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I know that there's a lot of things going wrong at the club right now. But equally, I think, come on, let's just put it to one side for 90 minutes, and then the rest, those who were there at the 90th minute mark when the result's pretty much determined, then boo if you've got a complaint, you know, because I'm sure there's plenty there who can hear what you've got to say, the likes of Coates, Scholes, Cartwright, who,
definitely.
the latter two are apparently having a bit of a laugh and a joke during the match, which wasn't well appreciated amongst the fan base.
No, mind you, don't get me started on him. We know what I think about Tony Scholes.
But I've got to praise Bristol City, you know, like Birmingham before them, they had a game plan which is essentially set up a defence, 2 banks of 4, whatever you want to call it, just soak up the pressure, go on the counter-attack, take a chance, sit back again, counter-attack.
Yeah.
Brilliant tactic against us, and I can't knock them for it. You know, it's hard to see teams coming with very little intent to be attacking, because it means that we are under the cosh as like the home team. And it's like I say, there's just nothing we can do at this moment because we haven't got that creative player in the team. You know, Bojan is the one everyone's calling for, but if you take the manager's word for it that he just isn't capable of playing in the team right now for whatever reason, then what we need to do is get another player in who can fill that role, because what we've got right now is certainly not enough to break open teams that decide to sit back and soak up the pressure.
Well, then in the 81st minute, they score again, and it was shameful. The defending was absolutely shameful.
I haven't seen the first goal much, but by what I've heard, it was Williams and Shawcross at fault for that.
Yeah, both of them were at fault. You can't name one or the other, it was both.
For the second, though, I did see that, and Cuco Martina shouldn't be near a Stoke squad ever again for the calamity he made in that goal. And I know I might have picked on him a little bit in terms of, oh yeah, he always seems to be at fault, but the fact is, it was that much of a clanger. You know, he had a clearance, all he had to do was just kick it out for a corner.
Yeah.
But instead, he just, I think he even air-shotted it a little bit, and it just went into the path of Bristol City player.
Yeah.
You know, and you look and you think, that is just terrible defending. You know, if you go and make an attempt at a clearance, you have got to clear it, you know.
Definitely. I mean, what he did, like you say, he shouldn't even be in a Stoke shirt.
You know, I mean, the irony is, for this gameplay, I've put him on the bench in a game that I thought was something that maybe we might pick as far as the team goes, but I wouldn't really choose him. I would maybe put Bauer in, or, you know, even if he's got his problems with Rowett, I think he should try and turn the other cheek a little bit right now, because he's got to be a little bit better than Martina, at least on current showing. And
looks like Eka could be back.
I hope Eric's back. I mean, he was on the bench yesterday, and I mean, this is again where I understand Rowett's critics in the sense that apparently Peters was on the bench because he wanted to have an attacking full-back option if Martin Zindi wasn't offering enough going forward. And I can't help but hear that and think, well, why didn't you bring him on then instead of Klukas?
Yes.
You know, don't get me wrong, I sort of get the idea of Klukas in the sense that he has played left-back before, he's a midfielder, so he'll be naturally more attacking. But equally, I think, but you put Peters on the bench for that exact reason, so why not bring him on? It was quite a confusing moment, that, as far as justification and not actually following through on it.
Oh, it's the same as Crouch, isn't it, really? I mean,
I actually thought when he brought Crouch on the 60th minute, he was literally trying to make a point as if to say, I still believe Crouch should be in the team.
Yeah.
And
I'm the boss and I'll do it.
Yeah, and I heard 20-odd thousand Stoke supporters saying, we disagree.
Yeah. Which
I think is a bit of a shame for Peter Crouch. I mean, I completely get why it's been targeted that way, in the sense that, you know, he's made the comments about Bojan, Peter Crouch is in the squad when really he shouldn't be. But I would ask Stoke supporters just to be mindful that Peter Crouch has been a good servant to us. I mean, when you think about it, yes, he has moaned at times about not playing. Most footballers do when you think about it. He scored some good goals for us over the years. He's broke the headed goals record whilst at the club with us. There might be small milestones, but I can't help but think, don't boo the lad. You know, I mean, I know you don't want the substitution to happen, but just don't be that nasty to him. That's all I'm saying. Even if it is more directed at Rowett than Crouch,
I mean,
you know, he might be thick-skinned, but I wouldn't like to think he's getting booed like that.
I mean, he seems a lovely fella, you know, and he doesn't deserve that for how well he has done with us, like you've said, Josh.
I mean, even if it's a case that he moves on and this winter in the summer, you know, even retires maybe at some point, you know, I still think it's a case of just treating him with a bit more respect. If anything, you know, I think there are a few players at the club who have actually earned the respect of the fan base. And, you know, Shawcross is one. Even though we have said we think his future might not be at Stoke for much longer, I personally demand respect for him, you know, because he is like that. And Crouch is up there. You know, like I say, he has got his faults, which I think most footballers do, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve some respect, which for me means no booing.
Right, shall we move on to
Well, yeah, do you want
Saturday, or have you got anything else to say about that match?
No, to be honest, I think that is enough as far as Bristol, because I think any more and we could just ramble on for another 10 minutes. So let's get on to Shrewsbury. And what are your stats going into this? Because I don't know a lot about Shrewsbury, I will admit.
Well, I've done the stats, even though they aren't actually...
They aren't FA Cup stats, they're more like league stats.
But I just thought I would read them to you anyway. They've won 7, drawn 9 and lost 10. Doherty is on 5 goals. Now excuse me for this name, please. You know I'm not good at names.
This one could be fun.
Oken Bury.
Okay, let me hop in and see if I know. Let's have a look.
Sounds good.
Fejiri Okenaburi.
That's what I said. I just didn't say his first name. And he's on 5 as well.
I swear they've actually started putting funny goal scorers up front for the teams, just so that Mum has to start pronouncing weird names.
Do you know, when I watch the teleprinter come up, I always try and pronounce names. I fail most of the time, by the way.
You're like a poor man's Paul Merson, aren't you?
I am, love, yeah. I admit
well,
it, though.
a poor woman's.
Yeah, that twit doesn't, though, does he? He just sits and laughs. Oh, I'm laughing.
I was going to say, if anything, he just makes more money off it than we do.
They're on 10 yellow. But what I found amazing with Darras, 4 of them were against Sunderland. So 6 were spread out and 4 against Sunderland, which is bad, really. And they're currently in 18th position in League One. So, on paper, it should be an easy match.
Yeah, I think we all thought that last season at Coventry, didn't we?
Yeah.
Sorry about that beep. But yeah, I'll admit the game is really awkward for Stoke supporters, and I'll be honest, Shrewsbury supporters must be looking at this game and thinking,
we can win this.
We could get to the 4th round,
yeah,
you know. And
definitely.
Rowett's talking about making changes, and to some extent I agree. You know, I think, for example, Adam Federici should get a game. I think he should always try, at least in the 3rd round, to give his second choice a game, just to
I'd put at least
give them
6
some match practice.
On, I would.
Yeah, after Vale, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, that Vale game's, you know, on the pitch has actually really put me off the youth team just for a little bit, because I think even if they'd lost 1-0, I'd have been like, okay, maybe, you know, there's a bit more fight in you.
I think they were put off, though, with all the trouble going on around them. There's flares going off here, there and everywhere.
But saying that, the majority of the goals came before the violence, if I heard right. So I'm not saying it, I'm just thinking, you know, maybe they need to grow a year or 2 before they can actually take on the men's league.
I do think you should put a couple of the youngsters on.
I wouldn't be against like Tyrese Campbell being involved. You know, that's for certain. I think he's at that stage when he needs game time. And I'd argue the likes of Lasse Sorensen on the bench or Ollie Shenton wouldn't do it either. But
I definitely think Ollie should be given a chance. I really do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting going forward just to see how many he makes, because I don't think Harry Suter would play, for instance, even though he played in the last cup game. I think it's more likely he'll stick with what we've had in the league with Shawcross and Williams, maybe Williams and Martins Indy, Shawcross, Martins Indy, but it'll be one of those combinations.
Well, it's like him dropping Tom from yesterday's match, sorry. Why? He didn't do that much wrong.
Apparently, the quote he gave before the game, I think it might have been Mark Sale, the assistant actually, was that he wanted to bring Kuko in because he'd make more attacking contributions than Tom. Now, I don't know about any other Stoke supporters, but my personal opinion is that Tom is the more attacking of the two, first of all. And when you look at the stats after the game, Kuko didn't exactly show this attacking intent that he was brought into the team to show.
Well, I did notice with Tom that he was always trying to get forward. Okay, sometimes his crosses didn't come in, didn't work, but at least he was going up there and running up for the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that is it. At least he's trying to go for things when there is a chance. If anything, I think Tom is more willing to overlap with his namesake, Tom Ince. And, it's a case of, I want that in a fullback. I want a fullback who's willing to go to his winger and say, you know what, I'm going to try and join in the play here.
Yeah. And so I was surprised anyway when he wasn't playing. And in my opinion, it was wrong.
Well, the way I see it is, with Tom Edwards, I think it's pretty much a certainty he plays against Shrewsbury. But the rest of the team is a bit of a mystery, because it's like with this team I picked here, I wasn't 100% certain which way to go with it. I mean, I started with Crouch because I thought he's rotated Afobe and Berahino up front a lot recently, so it wouldn't surprise me if Crouch was given a chance to lead the line from the start. I also brought in Juve because he is technically still at the club, and I say technically as in, even though he hasn't played since about Sheffield Wednesday to my thoughts, he is still here, so I assume he will be asking for a game. I was tempted to start Darren Fletcher as well, but I thought maybe we might stick with the midfield that's gone through the season so far. So besides that, it was really tricky trying to pick a team because
I can actually see Juve playing.
It wouldn't surprise me,
to be honest.
I mean, I didn't go for mass changes, but it's like I bought in Juve for Ince, I kept McLean in because I thought we haven't really got another left winger bar Klukas, and I thought he might play in midfield. Like I say, Crouch up front I thought makes sense if we're trying to go with the argument of Afobe and Berahino have rotated. But as far as the rest of the team goes, I'm not foreseeing many changes except for Federici.
Yeah.
So it's quite awkward to predict a result because these players that we're suggesting being bought in aren't exactly, they don't warm your heart. And, I can't really say I'm relishing the idea of Crouch starting how we've played recently. Similarly, I can't say I'm looking forward to Juve starting how he played the last time I saw him.
And I definitely think he'll play Darren Fletcher.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I actually bought Fletcher on this game because, like I say, I thought it would be something on the lines of Wood, Etebo, Klukas. I thought he might rest Allen, but I thought those three would likely play. But it's quite tricky nailing it down for certain because, he could go with just one change. He could just change Tom Edwards. He could just change Butland for Federici. It's very hard to know with Rowett. And it's a little bit frustrating in that sense because it would be nice to have an idea of what his plan is.
Well, I aren't a Gary Rowett fan at the moment.
I don't think a lot of people are, just to put that out there.
It was just that interview where I'm still fuming about it. But if he doesn't win against these, then he should be sacked.
I mean, the thing is, there was a comment on it was a Twitter thread, and it was just someone saying that if we don't get a win against these, then Gary Rowett's role will become untenable. It was someone saying it as if it was, from down the grapevine.
Yeah.
And someone actually commented saying, how the heck does that work out in the sense of, what happens if he beats him? Does that mean he's safe for another 5 or 6? And I've got to agree with the principle. You know, one game shouldn't define a manager's career.
It did with Mark Hughes.
But the thing is, for me, Mark Hughes should have lost his job after the Newcastle game.
Yeah.
You know, I think the Coventry game, even though it was bad, I think in the end that was inconsequential because he should have lost his job regardless of the result in that game.
That was just the final nail in his coffin, wasn't it, really?
And I think if they've got to go and make a decision on Rowett, i.e. thinking, right, maybe he isn't the man, it shouldn't matter if we win, lose or draw in this game. They make their decision based on what they've seen before it.
Yeah.
One game shouldn't be deciding it.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's not like you're winning a cup.
And if I was near that stand where Tony Scholes was and he was laughing, I swear to God, I'd have got up and punched him in the gob.
I'll be honest, I think if there are any Stoke supporters who can see Scholes and, you know, like you've got a good vantage point to see him, I would actually have a look up, and if you see him, just do something like that in the sense of just say, what are you laughing at? Because, you know, it's...
I swear I'd walk up to him and say, why are you laughing?
You know, I know that football doesn't always have to be serious, but on the other hand, he's made a hell of a lot of colossal errors in the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, these contract extensions we've handed out are ridiculous. You know, you've brought players in for massive wages that could effectively hinder us next year if we stay in the Championship, which is looking likely we will. You know, so, I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but I don't fancy paying Kevin Vinner and Gianelli and Boulas wages next season.
God, we better not do.
You know, so he needs to get his finger out and find out a way to flog them.
Yeah.
You know, even if he just sends them to some random Chinese club, just say, whatever you need to do, get rid of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm frustrated with Scholes as always, and Cartwright needs to have a target put on his back as well.
Well, for the man of the match against the Bristol game, it was nobody. I've put them all at 4.
I'm going to say I really couldn't pick a man out. I mean, it's not like the Bolton one when I thought at least Alan was running around. It was... Or was that the Birmingham game? I think that was the Birmingham one.
Yeah.
But yeah, last 2 games, the players just haven't turned up, and, you know, it's very hard to watch. So, a quick answer, prediction, what do you think the result's going to be?
Sorry, Stoke, 2-1 to Shrewsbury.
I'm going to go with the same scoreline as well, because I think we're going to be on the wrong side of an upset. So, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, and if you enjoyed this vlogcast, we'll see you in the next episode.
Okay, bye folks.
Bye everyone, see you next video.